We continue our school days, the changing face of college series today, part 3 now. Take out your pads and pencils because class is in session. We have
pads
6.
And pencils?
Yes, get them out there. Or write it down on your iPad. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. We have the names of 6 courses that students should take to help them land jobs. So write this down. Here you go, Michelle.
Classes include science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Internship-driven classes, business and economics, theater arts, professional writing, and leadership study. Theater arts?
Why not?
Surprised.
Well, let's talk about it. In fact, if you didn't get this all down, you can read this on CNBC.com. It was written by that lady, Kelly Grant. She wrote the article, which is on our website right now. Also, Eric Greenberg from Greenberg Educational Group joins us. And so does Chad Oakley of Charles Harris Incorporated. Kelly, why those classes necessarily?
Well, there's a real variety going on there. Theater arts, of course, is the one that everyone is kind of like, huh, about. But when you look at how college students are presenting themselves in interviews, we hear from recruiters and companies that that's really one of the big gaps there, that they're not presenting themselves well. So theater arts, improv, you can really learn how to get an opinion out there and present yourself well. If you're looking for something a little more serious, achieves the same aim, you could do something like a persuasive argument class, intro to ethics, even some law courses there.
How to present yourself.
Exactly. You want to present yourself well.
Eric, what do you think of this list? What should college students be studying in order to get a job?
Well, as Kelly mentioned, it's not economics and business courses are not for everybody. So some people might need to be a little bit flexible in terms of what they do. For example, somebody could take a communications class. They could learn how to be prolific speakers, and they could also learn how to adapt to a certain audience. Given that there are a lot of companies that are only hiring younger people at this point, the skill set that they come out of college with is equivalent to the resume of years past.
Chad Oakley, I mean, Bill Bennett was with us on Monday, I think it was, and his argument in his latest book is, look, give the kids a curriculum that is practical, that they will be applicable to their careers down the road, and don't mess with what he calls the irrelevant stuff, the liberal arts. Do you agree with that? The kids you're looking at today coming out of college, are they better prepared if they've had a more practical education?
Chad?
Great question. I do think that in most businesses today, they need individuals that are analytically driven, strategic thinkers, right? Individuals who know how to break down a problem into smaller parts, take each of those individual parts and analyze them individually, roll them back up into one grand solution, and then to the point that we talked about before with some of those communication classes, communicate that back to the executives in a persuasive way. That makes a difference. So I do think that we've got to get more analytics.
The top of the list, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I frequently hear gripes that we don't have enough engineering students in this country. Isn't that the bottom line? And when I see the numbers about where you're going to make the most money, it's in those 4 areas, isn't it?
Kelly?
Well, that's certainly something that we hear a lot from the recruiters and the companies. Great major to be in. But, you can't really chase which majors they say have the jobs now and where the money is now, because that could easily change in a couple of years. It's really about figuring out what you want to do and figuring out the best courses and the steps to get there. That's why when we look at those internship-driven picks, huge deal there. Internships, of course, are something that every company looks for. But if students can really take what they're learning there and then go and pick something else that, kind of helps them complete it, that maybe isn't a required course. We talked to one advertising major who had an internship and said, I have to go back and learn how to do graphics and graphic design because it's something my major didn't require, but I know now, having worked in the field, that I need it.
Eric, let me play devil's advocate for a moment and make a case for the liberal arts education. I mean, that's what I had. I'm not sure I would do it again, but, you're supposed to be a more well-rounded individual when you've been exposed to the arts as well as the sciences, as well as the more practical classes that you can take in college to prepare you for life, not just for a job.
That's a great point, Bill, but I don't think it has to be all or none. In fact, if somebody does a certain number of economics or business classes, say 10-20% of all their classes, that by definition still leaves 80% of the classes for liberal arts. So a lot of people talk about throwing liberal arts out the window, so to speak. The reality is the best thing for somebody to do is to take certain STEM or STEM-related classes, integrate them with the liberal arts, and then that can really maximize their job potential. The key issue is that the letters STEM are enough to give somebody an ulcer in certain cases. Yes. A lot of people don't like the acronym. They just can't deal with anything that sounds too math-related. But if somebody is wise enough, Bill, to take a statistics class, for example, anything that deals with big data, anything that deals with the compilation of data in some capacity, even if it's not directly science related, can be extremely valuable. So I don't think it has to be all or none. The other aspect that I would like to mention is that I think the whole notion of vocational training is dramatically underutilized in the United States. In certain European countries, it's almost assumed that a significant number of people will do vocational training. I think a lot of people are...
Chad, are you an advocate of vocational training as well?
I think it can be extremely important, especially for technical skills in America today, of which there is definitely a shortage. We talked about engineering before. There is no question there is a massive shortage of engineers in the United States today. That's why we have such an issue with H-1B visas in Congress today. If we can't make it here in America, we have to import it. So vocational training is absolutely a big deal in technical fields.
Kelly, I know you said that, you don't want to be chasing careers based on trends, but I will say it. The college groups, when I speak to them, I hear more and more people want to sing. I want to get into engineering. If they're not going to Wall Street, they're going to be an engineer of some kind.
Well, I mean, certainly students are very aware their parents have put a lot of money and effort into getting them to that point where they're in school. They don't want to come out and be unemployed and living on their parents' couch. They really do want to get the job.
So why do they major in basket weaving and things like that?
Like Michelle did.
I mean, we hear about all these kids who majored in junk. I mean, they clearly didn't care what their parents spent on it. It's amazing.
Well,
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have you all.